Maybe she's on.
You're alive.
Josh Sullivan, to my right, Ken Roberts to my left, and we have a vacancy right now. If anybody has not handed in their resume, you have an opening, are you able to hand it in or send it in to our management team until midnight of today? Today is the last minute of that day. With that, I'd like to ask Ken Roberts to the presentation. I believe just for
which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, I think today's meeting is both of public comments. So with that, have you put your name?
Call to order.
Oh, I thought I did that when mentioning everybody's name. All right, we'll call to order. Should be associated. Now we're ready for public comments, where everybody who wants to talk, please put their name on the list. If you haven't already done that, you have 3 minutes, and then we're.
Yes, ma'am.
The list
4.
comments?
You're just gonna go up to the podium one at a time. ma'am.
You just said about a list.
You want a sign-in sheet, Bob? Okay. Bear with me.
Brian, are
one
you
second.
able to hear that I'm here?
Oh. That's
Brian?
Joe.
Yeah,
Joe, can you hear me? You're a little loud.
yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
I'll-
Joe, give me 1 second if you can mute yourself. I'm doing a sign-in sheet.
Welcome.
Bear with me. All right. Who do I got first? Robert Simpson. Everybody will get a chance. Robert Simpson. All right.
Earlier, Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
Hunt.
Hunt. Who do I got next?
Pat Hoffman.
Pat Hoffman.
Pat.
Pat. Gotcha, Pat. All right.
Peggy Midori, Modorry.
Modorry. Okay.
Jerry,
Jerry.
Jerry, Verticap, Bertekap,
Tekap. Verticap.
Joe
Joe.
Cooper.
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 COOPER. Gotcha, Joe.
Thank you.
7.
Carol Abram.
Carol.
AB.
With a C?
Yeah,
Carol.
ABRAMCHIK.
Gotcha, Carol. All right.
Mike
Mike.
Hoagland,
Mike Hoagland.
HOAG,
HOAG.
LAND.
Gotcha, Mike. Hey, Philip with a PH?
One L P H.
Okay. Philip.
BERIN.
Lawyer.
GER.
GER. Gotcha, Behringer. Hey,
Hey, I'm Chris.
Chris.
Fine, KLEIN.
KLEIN. Gotcha, Chris.
Thanks.
Hey.
How you doing?
Wayne Moratis.
Wayne.
MOR
MOR.
AITIS.
TIS. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
This way I have an idea how much time.
Okay. And then you want me to just call him up when we're ready?
No, let me do,
Okay. I will follow your lead.
As a little bit ago, we lost our leader 2 weeks ago. So in order to honor Jay Will's contributions and memory, I would just like to have a moment of silence for him. Thank you. Thank you. There will be a memorial for Jay tomorrow at 11 o'clock at Suntree United Methodist Church, 7400 North Lincoln Road. If any is to attend or you've been friends with him in the past, it would be nice to show a little honor for him. It's been in this community a long, long time, probably over 15 years. He was on this board 6 to 8 years. Had a lot of contribution. Some of us we agree with some of them, some of them we don't. He was here and he was time. Okay, I'd like to turn it over to Brian now to pull up people who have public comments. I'd also like to ask the supervisors not to make any comments on these if we'll discuss it later on. And one more stipulation, if I can, is if you hear repeats of what people say, please don't come up and repeat it again for the sake of time. Our meetings normally take 3 to 4 hours. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody.
We meet every second bus. So we have so if you've got something planned at 12 o'clock, by all means, go for it.
I am going to invite Robert Simpson up to the podium. Residents, you have 3 minutes to discuss any agenda items. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you. Bear with me.
Oh. 6848 Toland Drive. I've been here for about 13 years now. The reason I want to talk this morning is the one clarification on the sign put out to prohibit bikes, golf carts, etc. When I first moved in here, I was told that you should be allowed to ride your bikes on the sidewalks that are more than 8 foot in width. I understand the sidewalk in front of home is 6 foot in width, so I never ride on those. But to enjoy the surroundings, the nature, the ponds, those 8 foot walkways, that bikeways meander through the community. I've always ridden on those bikes with the bikes, and I have other people who've ridden on bikes. Now that the signs are up, I'm getting all kinds of confrontations with walkers saying I'm not supposed to be on those bike paths. And I call them bike paths because that's what they were originally. And especially the one behind the condo, which allows the golf carts to go to the golf course. And the one that's really facilities is the one right across from the tennis courts to go into the pavilion. That's where the bike field meets in the morning to go on bike rides. That's where people play cornhole. That's where people congregate to socialize. And now they can't ride their bikes 50 feet on their sidewalk. I'm pretty upset about it because every time I'm riding my bike, I get these dirty looks and people confronting me saying I should be on these pathways, not the sidewalks, the ones that are 8 to 10 feet wide. And one other thing, if I'm going to be prohibited from riding on those pathways, then I recommend that you put a sign up on each one of the roads telling people not to walk or run in the road. As for cars. So, one or the other. But I'm sure we could clarify that bike path and pedestrians last thing. And thank you.
Thank you, Robert. At this time, we will invite Mary Lou Hunt to the podium. Name and address when you get a moment. It's on.
I live on the water. When we first moved here 5.5 years ago, it was beautiful. That's why we bought the house we did, because it was for sale on the water. Now it's ugly, with weeds and reeds and junk floating around in it. And it's not a good thing to live on the water now. I've heard rumors that St. John's Water Management won't let us clean it up. I've heard rumors that it's too expensive to clean it up. I've heard rumors that it's better for the wildlife to leave it gross. So I just would love to clarify and find out why it's so bad. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will invite Pat Hoffman to the podium. Name and address when you get a chance.
Kelly vehicle, my human power along the sidewalk, work wasn't moved by a plan and along the sidewalk has all the rights and duties applicable to a pedestrian under the same circumstances. I have a lot of steps on the motions. Also, if you listen to the recording of the May 2025 board meeting, you already had those signs purchased before you voted to put them up. Also, the lawyer said the policy is not enforceable. What the heck? It's not enforceable. Why is there a bunch of signs? Oh, I understand you want to keep the older residents safe, but we're not all ready for a nursing home. This is a 55+ active. Also, those little lines on the sidewalk, on the legacy, that's not a bike path. 85% of people I ask think that's a bike path. It's not a bike path because it doesn't have that little sticker that's the bike path, but that's the bike path, legally. Also from Heritage Healthcare at cd.org, the CDD will provide the following publicly owned elements, which includes sidewalk. I can give you that citation too if you want. I have physically ridden my bicycle to the front and the back gate. The little arm does not go up for me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not in the right place for the little electric bike. I don't know. When I told Director Goldstein that, he told me to get on my own bike and push it on the sidewalk. But if it's not allowed on the sidewalk, how am I even supposed to get out the back gate? Let's see. That's that. Also, how come your emails are not available on the CPD website? I looked for them, couldn't find them. One time I clicked on a link to open this in the website instead of whatever, and MailChimp.
You have 1 minute.
MailChimp took me to that list, but that no longer works. Also, I have a question about the sunshine laws because all of your agendas have said golf cart signs. I get it. I don't know golf carts on those paths either. I read about it. Sorry. Anyway, I guess that's about it.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you. At this time, we'll invite Peggy Midori. Apologies if I misspeak your name. So sorry, your name and address for the record.
Is giving to your new signage around our neighborhoods. I know that we all share an interest in safety and maintaining order in our community. And the signs, however, in your meetings do bring up some questions. First of all, they're excessive in size. They're also very intrusive visually when you enter our community. These are not just a gentle reminder for safety. They're bulky, they're cluttered, they dominate our space. Instead of blending into the aesthetics of the community, instead of welcoming our residents home, instead of extending a greeting to our visitors, they're a constant disruption to our environment. It feels like we're wandering through an industrial zone. Second, the list of prohibited devices is long and frankly, it's overwhelming. This laundry list approach creates confusion instead of clarity. The sheer volume of that number of restrictions posted in one spot makes it unlikely that anyone will take the time to read it, and it also then defeats the purpose of the sign. I've seen these signs create conflict among neighbors. People are feeling empowered to police our sidewalks on their own. This is creating tension within our community. If our goal is really to improve sidewalk safety, there are more effective and community-friendly ways to do that. Simplify your message. Use smaller strategically placed signs. Promote awareness through community education. Make rules that are reasonable and take into account of all the needs of our community members. Don't make a knee-jerk reaction to one situation that happened 2 years ago. Let's not clutter our neighborhoods. Finally, we spend thousands of dollars to ensure that our landscape is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and inviting. Thousands of dollars we have spent on our landscape. And what do we do now? We clutter them with these signs that lead with the word no. You can find a better way. Let's focus on solutions and make our community safer and more cohesive for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll invite Jerry Verticap to the podium. Name and address when you get a moment.
Jerry Verticap, 3373 Karen Mole Circle. I wanted to point out just that the bicycle signs that we have are very large, obtrusive, make a mockery of rules for your, it's very hard to enforce it. In Florida, bicycle riding on sidewalks is generally legal. When you're on a bike, on a crosswalk, you're considered a pedestrian. You have the same rights and duties as someone walking on the sidewalk. The local Melbourne ordinance says bicycles must yield the right of way to pedestrians and give an audible signal, such as a bell or audible alert. So they are allowed on the bicycle. Why do you go against the local and the state laws and create your own laws? It's really a mockery. Why so big? Why do you start out putting it in such ugly places? Someone coming in the community thinks, what is this, a concentration camp? You have signs in what you can't do. It looks terrible. Why do you do it? Another thing, it's the ponds look a little bit better, but still terrible. I'll give you that. Thank you for moving the meetings here. And in today's paper, there was an article about the large homegrown fish drive on mosquitoes. And I want to call your attention to the Mosquito Control Commission is giving out free fish for your ponds that will eat mosquitoes. So in case you can call them, maybe they'll bring your fish to the pond. Okay, it's on the Florida Today. Thank you.
Thank you. Finish. We will invite Joe Cooper to the podium.
I just say a few things. When we moved here 15 years ago, my wife and I both made investments in moved here, and it was a very important thing in family. And we were, in all the literature we were given, we had 13-mile bike strips here in the city and in the community. We don't have that now. Now it's like half a mile, and today we learned that it's not even really a bike strip. But I feel like somebody's pulling the bike off. So the signs, again, I think they're obnoxious, so probably unfortunately, And if I were a teenager coming here to visit my grandparents, I would look at those signs and say, they don't want me here. I'm not here, they don't want me. We have 90-year-old people that drive on these roads here. And now I have to ride my bike. And there are no bike lanes. We need to paint bike lanes at least on all of the roads, so that they put bikes on it, so that the people know there are going to be bikes on this road. There are people out there, some of these 90-year-olds, some aren't 90, but the people are unaware that the bikes are out there. It's not safe. It's not safe. So it's supposed to be making things safe, but I don't think that it is. And I don't want to make the issues anymore, so that's all I got. Thank you.
Invite Carol Abraham to the podium. Name and address when you get a chance.
I'd like to also thank you for putting some new landscaping in at the lake between Belleville and Quinn. It looks great. And but we would like, one of the biggest things here is our entrance to Heritage. It used to be very lush, very pretty. Everything was pulled out. They put a little boards in that have not tried in the couple of years they've been there. This year they're bright and blooming, but they're not still very pretty. And it clashes with the purple great myrtles that are there. It's just not attractive. This is our entrance to our community. It could have been done better. Also, I'd like to, whenever you do big landscaping changes, I mean, it's like necessary, like with the view for the traffic situation that we had, whatever. Okay, we understand it. We'd like to know what is being put back in there. Sometimes it's just mulch. Mulch is not landscaping. It's assists the landscaping and keeping down the weeds, keeping the moisture. It's not landscaping. It's ugly. To take out professionally landscaped, thought out entrances and stuff, and to put just cheap plants in and a bunch of mulch, that's not landscaping. And we were wondering, what kind of budget do you have to replace trees and things? I live in an area, Camberley, where they put those awful trees that were all sick and dying. And they're all chopped up. We've got a bunch of stumps there. And we've heard in the past, if you want to pay the money to do it, in fact, our neighbors were thinking about asking to do that. If, you know, there's got to be some kind of budget to replace the trees that are done. And once again, that's what I have to say. Yeah, I'm a walker. I walk out to the community, and some of the ends are getting a little better, but there's still a lot of weeding, a lot of stuff. And please don't put mulch in, put sod if you have to put anything in, but just try to keep the community up. Thank you.
Invite Mike Hoagland to the podium. Name and address when you get a chance.
Michael Lynn, 6858 Colin Drive. Thank you for having this meeting here. I think the attendance speaks for itself. Hopefully that's in the future, that meetings are here. We have a vacancy on the board. I'd like to know if we have applicants, and is the intent to fill that seat before the election so that we have the residents have full representation. I'd like to know that since I understand that board members can't speak to each other outside of this meeting, I'm wondering how that agendas are set, and if they're set in a month in advance by you at this meeting. And then also, in line with that, who runs the CDD? Is it the board or the property manager? Thank you.
We're not gonna go into this later, so I'll answer a couple of the questions, Mike. Basically, it's run by both of us. The agendas are set by the supervisors called up the management company, who actually should be running everything. We're here to tell them what we like, and it's their job to actually get it done, get the bids and so forth and so on. So the appointment we're looking for now will be in place for another year and a half. So we don't have an election this year. I think I answered most of the questions. If not, I'd be happy to answer them later after the meeting's over. Thank you.
Thank you. Gonna invite Philip Berenger to the podium. Name and address.
There, I'm fine to you. I agree with that, for me, it's being an eyesore and, we could possibly hurt property values as well. I mean, if we do have to keep the signs, my suggestion would be placement. I have one right in front of my building. They have smack in front, and maybe just we'll have one sign at the back gate, one sign at the front. Have, how many signs are there? 30 signs? Seems like a overkill. Anyway, that's my issue. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Invite Chris Klein to the podium. Name and address when you get a chance.
Chris Klein, 3913 Caramel Circle. Thank you for having the meeting here. I think everybody appreciates that. I saw this roof. I've only been here 3 years, so I looked at the governing documents because in my mind, those are fairly important. The original Declaration of Covenants and Restrictions for Heritage Tile District that are recorded in the public records back in 2004 mentions that the district is responsible for all paved surfaces, including but not limited to roads, pathways, bicycle paths, and sidewalks. So, first question, where are the bicycle paths? Not one, but multiple paths. They seem to be disappearing, or they've already gone. Maybe they left a while ago. Now, they were certainly still here in 2012, because in 2012, there was a certificate of amendment to the Declaration of Covenants and Restrictions for the district. And again, it mentions that the district, as of that date, is presently maintaining certain pathways, bicycle paths, and sidewalks. So somewhere there's got to be some bicycle paths, and I'm wondering where they are. Now that's important because in the original governing document, the Declaration of Covenants and Restrictions for the district, there's an easement granted for both pedestrians and vehicles over, through, and across sidewalks, paths, walks, driveways, passageways, and lanes as they exist from time to time. Of course, that's determined by the district. But when the district is prohibiting a bicycle from driving on a bicycle path, that's violating the recorded easement for ingress and easement that everybody's entitled to the benefit of. So the district can't unilaterally deprive a bike rider of the right to go on bike path. And it talks about vehicular traffic. And within the documents, there's mentions of golf carts. In my mind, a vehicle is a bicycle, a car, and a golf cart. So the easement for ingress and egress is given to the bikes and the golf carts. and then just comments as I haven't been here long enough. In my mind, legacy should be a shared pathway. It connects directly into the other shared pathways outside. I don't know why that was changed. I don't know why the pedestrians who have the exact same rights.
You have 1 minute.
Ingress and egress, which means the right to go in and out, over and through. Why they have all the rights and the golf carts and the bicycles seem to be the forgotten stepchild. Thank you.
We have one more sign up, Wayne Moratis. Name and address.
Wayne Moratis, 3011 Canberra Circle. I won't reiterate things that other people have said, except that it's nice that the meeting is being held here. I hope they all will be in the future, as you can see by the attendance, as long as it complies with the protocols of Hyman, and that's a quick 3 minutes. And Baylor management. But let's get to the meeting at which the signs were approved. I understand your concern was liability. So was there a letter from the insurance company indicating the problem, or was there an insurance agent in attendance? And secondly, with that meeting, why wasn't that advertised to the public that a motion was going to be addressed? As you can see, people came here after the motion, but the night at the time of the motion being passed. And I don't know if Supervisor LeBrecq would like to entertain this, or whether this passage through the protocols, but I'd like to know why she voted against it. What were her concerns? Supervisor LeBrecq, are you willing to speak on this issue?
The board members are gonna comment after.
Okay.
That's it.
I'd like to thank everybody for I think it's wonderful that we have the meeting here too, and we're trying to do it for 3 years, but it's here now, so hopefully we'll keep it here. We will answer your questions as best we can when we get into the business items. I think that'd be best, rather than just, that way we can get just about everything done that we need to get done. So I'd like to thank everybody for their understanding, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. We have to do this to help protect the community. And again, thank you all for your comments and thank you for attending. So right now, we will go into the Juniper update. Bill, can you come forward? Meet you over here. Oh, you got a mic right there. Sure.
So right now, I'm gonna have to officially give a little update where we are with the CDD landscaping here at Heritage Isle. And then typically what happens after that is I'll follow up with some more detail on what we've been working on, some metrics that we'll take a look at, where we are with our performance with the contract, and some other items that need to be discussed. So with that, Bill.
Hello, everyone. So as we all know, we've been having a lot of rain. There's pros and cons to that, obviously. The pros being we're getting the much needed water that has been lacking here for quite some time. One of the big problems with that though is it's really saturating the soil and it's causing some delays in some areas getting mowed or maintained properly because we don't want damage to dirt in those areas. So that's the reason we see maybe some like 20-foot by 20-foot squares of grass that just haven't been mowed. But as soon as they put out, we will be back to those areas. Other than that, we've been pretty much on schedule with mowing. We did make a last week on Saturday to get some areas done. I'm sure you saw us out here. As far as the detail goes, we've been detailing all the parts, and we actually are ahead of schedule on the CDD detail. That's what everything goes. Another thing I'd like to add, we have the agronomy team out here for their second application of torpedo grass. We've been treating a lot of torpedo grass, it's growing up in planting beds. So within 10 days, we should really see everything starting to die back. It's something that I am monitoring myself. And then we also have a new team that is doing enhancements. We finally got an enhancement backlog, so we have a team now that we can have someone to try and make these, little installs and tear outs on Fridays. I have a full-time team that can do those things for us. So we've gotten caught up with those outstanding tickets that we have through Ken. We're preparing bullnose. We're finishing that today with Saw. We did a couple of things over on Flintstone, and so things are looking better for everyone here. That's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Bill. So if the board would look at the June report, I'd like to go over some of many issues with the June report. Jump right in. You're now seeing our irrigation reliability in the older phases become more unreliable. We talked about this issue at other meetings. As a community, you need to overhaul the irrigation system in the older phases, which are phases 1, 2, and 3. And due to problems over the last few years, phase 3 was selected as the first phase to receive an overhaul of the 2-wire apparatus that's in the ground. Phase 1 and 2 will follow. This has been discussed, like I said, in previous reports, and it's time for action. What we did was we went out with what we call a request for information from vendors, irrigation vendors, to provide us with a proposal, a draft proposal on what they do, what they would do in conjunction with phase 3. We are at the point now where in phase 3, we know what we have. We have 161 valves that service the homeowner lots. We have 41 valves that service the common area, which affects the CDD. There are also approximately 10 shared junction boxes within that maze of wires. These valve boxes are tied to the controllers, which are the clocks that off the solenoids, which turn on the valves, turns them on and turns them off. We have 2 controllers to phase 3. So that's the footprint that we're dealing with in phase 3. For us, we need to work as a team with Hyder because we're intertwined in there. We've got common area and we've got the homeowner lots in there. However, because of the statutes, we will do the same work for the whole phase, but we have to have 2 different tracks, one for the CDD for financial reasons and one for the Hyder for their financial reasons. So we're going to have 2 statements of work that are identical, but they have to go in separately to the bank. But that's how that's going to play out. We're going to discuss our RFP today for the CDD piece, and then tomorrow we're going to go over the Hyder piece. So that's kind of where we are right now with the overall phase 3. We have to do this. We've reached a point now where we're just going to be putting band-aids on a system that needs to be overhauled. So any questions from the board so far?
Tomorrow's meeting, you're gonna go over it with the Highway Board?
Yes.
Because we've already passed. We need something to connect it to. So hopefully we'll have some numbers, we'll be able to get this and working.
And so
Could you tell everybody what our costs are gonna be on that, Ken, what we might estimate?
for the CDD piece, we estimate it will probably be around $30,000. It'll be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less.
That's 1 out of 8, 9, 10 areas that we have here in this community, so. Not all of them have to be done at the same time, but 3 and 1 are almost 20 years old. Should have been done a while ago, and hopefully we can get it all done now, because all we're doing is spending money on Band-Aids. I just had a sign off $10,000 last night on 2 Band-Aids. Otherwise, 20 homes would get the wood. So we've got to get this done, but we've been working on it for a while, so everybody understand that if you're not getting water, we've got make-believe water things running on batteries to get you water. But we will get that done. Thank you.
So moving on to the July report, at these meetings, I like to read these items so that people can, take them on board, think about them. And if it generates any questions from the board members, that's how we've been doing this for years at these CB meetings. So please bear with me. This report provides a composite Heritage Isle landscape update that addresses the homeowner lots, the clubhouse, pilot, and the CB properties. The Joint Landscape Committee, which I'm the chair, uses a matrix. We sit down and we go over all the different components of the landscape that's being delivered to the properties here at Heritage Isle. And you'll see that when we put it up on the board. We use a green, yellow, and red rating system so we know where the trouble spots are, so we can take action and get those fixed. Currently, our main focus is to ensure that the landscape services remain on track with the published schedules that you see that comes out. That's our roadmap for the month. It includes all services in front and backyards, for the homeowner lots, private property, clubhouse, and all common areas. The common areas are adjacent to the homeowner lots. We have to make sure that they're done in conjunction with the homeowner lot, so we don't have any gaps. This time of year is a landscaper challenge. This is the peak period for growing, which means the lawns, the shrubs, the trees, etc., are growing at exponential speed. It just seems like the weeds grow the fastest. We're right in the middle of that zone right now. Juniper is currently resourced with approximately 34 people on the property. And as of 11 July, the detailing and the weeding was behind schedule by about 2 weeks. The weather didn't help us. Mother Nature dropped a lot of rain on us. Things got backed up. And now they are in catch-up mode. I think Bill alluded to that a little bit earlier. However, we require a get well plan to refocus resources and get back on schedule. As a result, following plan action by Juniper was provided as follows. Mowing. All properties have been serviced according to the July schedule. Detailing and pruning. Additional crews are on property to complete all phases. Clubhouse, pilot, and common areas by 30 July. So they have to the end of the month to get caught up. This personnel augmentation will continue on, start on 14 July and will run through 31 July, at which time they should be back on schedule. Weed control. They've already put one application of fusilade, which is the type of herbicide we use to treat torpedo grass, in all the planting beds and areas throughout the community to mitigate the torpedo grass. A follow-up application will be required. It's happening now, from now until actually tomorrow, correct, Bill? This plan is to stay on track and complete all the weed abatement by the end of July 2025. It will mean pulling some weeds. That's part of the abatement. The 2-person weed control team will be on property until the weed control is manageable. Work orders. At the time of this report, there was 91 work orders in progress. The work order team is addressing these work orders by severity and first in, first out process management. The majority of the work orders are for irrigation services. Now, we did find out that was an e-blast saying, e-blast was sent out by management to the community to remind homeowners to cease submitting work orders for any unscheduled wet checks. Per the contract, this service is scheduled quarterly. However, any leaks or damaged heads must be reported to management for corrective action. Juniper now has a specialty team on the property to trim the robolini palm trees until completed and back on schedule. Joint Landscape Committee and our management team are committed to work with Juniper to ensure we receive quality general landscaping, live irrigation, and processes that keep our property with the sharp. Irrigation update. It's business as usual. Irrigation team continues to address wiring issues and keeping our overall system operational. Phase one is still experiencing wire problems. There was an e-blast sent out yesterday going over that issue. While repairs are underway, they are using timers. These are battery-powered timers. We have an inventory of 80 of them that have been connected to the valves, so the properties will continue receiving irrigation while these repairs are underway. Vast majority of the timers are deployed in phase one. We have a handful on the clubhouse and a few on the common areas, unless that has changed. I don't know if Chris has an update on that, but is that still valid? Okay. Again, our irrigation overhaul project will make irrigation in these older phases in common areas more reliable. Special mention. This is some good news. Goes to Juniper. The tall palm tree pruning project this year was a success. And certainly an improvement from last year, which took 6 months to do. It was well organized. We experienced no palm frond staging within the community. And the work was completed within 4 to 5 weeks, which I thought was excellent. Last year, like I said, it took almost 5 to 6 months to complete, so Juniper gets a Bravo Zulu for that. That was good work. So bullnose updates, like I already mentioned earlier, we are focusing attention on our legacy Boulevard bullnose refreshes in there. We're finishing up on Carambola today with sod, and I agree with what was spoken earlier. We do need mulch, but we don't need to make the whole corner mulch. We do need landscaping in there. We just don't want mulch all over the place, so we're conscious of that fact. In part 4, we've installed 9 more crepe myrtles along the south end of the park. And to give it, more trees in that area. It was kind of barren and bare. We also, in between Quint and Balboa, we put 2 teardrop planting beds in there, one near Balboa and one near Quint, with a crepe myrtle in there, as a compromise right now, because we have an irrigation issue in the middle of that property back there that needs to be addressed before we, if we do anything else. So right now, it's sort of a compromise solution there. That's about it. Reiterate, the RFP for the common area overhaul for phase 3 hopefully will be approved today to go out. We're on a tight schedule. We're hoping to get something awarded for this in September. And the HIDA package will be addressed with the board tomorrow in the HIDA meeting. Hopefully they'll go through their RFP. Any questions?
Just one quick, are we gonna get 3 bids on this?
Yeah, we have 4. We
Good.
have 4.
So you'll send it out with the higher, soon we did pass it tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. So what we have up here is the matrices I was talking about. So the first one, attachment A, here's the green, the yellow, and the red. And my overview kind of talked these issues, but it's nice to have a visual to see where our problem areas are. We're yellow in the shrub area and the rubellines. And they've got the Tiger team on board now to help mitigate the problem with the detail actions that are going on. Weeds, it's red. This requires manpower. And applications of the herbicide, which they're doing now. So we're hoping to eventually get that to go yellow. And they're managing it much better. This has been a perennial problem here since I've been here. I've been here 13 years. Every summer, it's the same thing. You don't have enough people to do the work for the week. The landscape contract for HIDA, we've already addressed that issue of a resourcing plan for the summer months. They need people in here to keep up with it. Mother Nature always wins here. Every summer, Mother Nature wins. Well, so we're focusing hopefully like a real to address that issue. So we've got a plan for the weeds. That'll get us into August. So for the August meeting, when we do our meeting, hopefully we'll be able to see where we are and hopefully get some of this red going to yellow. So that's general landscaping. Then we have irrigation. The irrigation, if you look at the CDD, we have yellow because we still do have some timers on property. It's down on the south part of Legacy, on the east side, there's an issue with wire that needs to be fixed. And if you look at the whole chart, obviously you see homeowner lines with red because phase one, we got the huge drop in there, where we got timers providing irrigation for the property. So that's gonna stay red until that gets fixed. Right, Chris? Okay. And clubhouse is a couple of timers that leave in the front of the property. So this is the guy that we use to help us, navigate all the responsibilities for our vendor. Remember, we're spending well into the $2 million for landscaping here in Arajada. That's for the homeowner lots, CDD, and the clubs. Yeah, the irrigation on top of that, we're probably close to 2.5 million a year. It's a lot of money. So we need to make our vendor accountable, stay on top of them the best we can. Make sure we're getting our money's worth to keep this place looking sharp. So when people drive in here, they say, I'd like to live in this place. I don't think anybody would argue down. Right? Bobby?
I can argue with it. Kenny did a report because he does the, not just for the CDP, but also for Hyder and before that. So he does all three. So we get accurate numbers and accurate figures at the end of every month. It's going to cost that kind of money very easily, but you know what? It's a 20-year-old community and we have to keep the upkeep. We've got a lot of competition to the south of us for new houses, and we just got to be invited to everyone. So it's not something we are looking at doing, it's something that we are going to do. Thank you.
Any questions from Juniper for us? No? I guess you guys can go back to work. Yeah, let's go.
Thanks, guys.
We'd like to introduce the-
That's Joe. Joe, do you have something to add?
No,
Oh.
I just want to ask if am I getting all the audio just from your computer? Because I can only understand you and Ken. Bob is very muffled. I think you're very far away from them.
Yeah,
The
Joe,
only-
I think you're picking up the audio from my computer. We were trying to work on some technical stuff, but I
Okay.
think this is the best it's gonna be today. Bob's gonna make some quick comments. Go
Okay.
ahead, Bob. Thank you. Yes. So board, you have a report on tab 2 from our current fountain maintenance provider on their May inspection. There have been some reports of needed maintenance on the light control boxes. We are working with the vendor to get some bids to present in our August meeting. Overall functionality is operating, but you could see the rust there in those images. I got them up on the screen as well. Yeah, just something to be on the lookout for. Overall pond maintenance, we've discussed, they've been treating the stem rush grasses to the scope that we've provided. The board has already reviewed a overhaul project for, trimming those back in the following fiscal year, and this will be something that we consider. They did. If you recall, it was roughly 48,000 to treat all the areas. So with the projects that we currently have right now, We're just moving that into the next fiscal year, which is
And
right.
we have. Did that.
This year, it would be tight. I would most likely recommend that we look at this September 30th, as soon as the fiscal year ends. I think we're about 2 months away. We'll have a whole new wave of funding for this project.
It came up as an issue with people. Still a major issue. And I moved in here with nothing in behind my house, you know, and now we've got plenty of it. And everybody on Kimberly or everywhere else has a lot of it. Your side has a lot of it. We are working on it. We've tried a couple of issues of how to do it. I put it down. We've tried some where we actually put poison on the top of it, but it takes too long to die because it dies from the top down. So it doesn't die at the root. We got some rain, which gets some of it now, but it's going to diminish again. But we are working on it. It's an expensive thing to do. One of the problems is we can't just rip it all out because that's insane. And that's a problem. We can do it and hope nobody ever comes out here and looks at it and get fined. A couple of areas in Brevard have tried it and they've been called up and they've been fined. So what we need is one TikTok president to call up the state and come out here and we ripped it up and we'll get fined. It's put in there, we did the right reasons, the fish, the soil, and so forth, but it does look atrocious. But if you go around the county, you see it everywhere. That's the point. Very few places did not have that planted. That was planted by the builder because it's not natural. But we will get to the bottom of it and try to get rid of a bunch of things. Yeah, my word on it. I want my house to look better too. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. It's all for pond maintenance. Yep. All right, moving on to item D, Precision Sidewalk Job Report behind tab 3. We have completed 779 locations in our second phase of this project. As you know, Bob, in August, we'll be considering the additional, I believe it's Camberley or Carambola, additional scope that was approved by the board of a not to exceed of 10,000. And then next year, we should be finishing our final phase of this 3-year project on the remaining phases, which I believe would be phase 6 and phase 8. So good report. You have your list of the areas that they repaired, and we will continue to work with Precision on the following fiscal year. Yeah.
So far. This is the second year of the project and I think we'll make pretty good progress.
I agree.
Question, what does the figure square foot, what does that represent? Since it appears that almost all of the homes average about 25 square.
I think it's linear.
I said square foot, but it's linear.
It's linear.
Well, it's not linear, square foot should be.
Yeah.
Linear, okay, so it's just an estimate that each house has approximately 25
Yes. Square feet is probably 500 squares. Most of the sidewalks are 5 feet wide, they're probably 5 feet, 2.5 feet on either side, whatever the distance is, and make sure they get.
25 square foot doesn't cover much, and it's an average. I see all of the houses seem to be listed.
That's it. All your sidewalks in front of the houses are 5 feet wide, so they're
Yes.
approximately.
There's more than 25 foot.
So it's a square foot, so 5 by 5.
Square foot, right. Five. If the lots are 60 foot, that's.
Well, they're not doing the internal, they're doing where the raised portion is.
Yeah.
So they're not doing the entire length of the lot, they're probably doing about 2.5 feet on either side of each location on average. So that's showing an average that there are approximately.
So John, they're working on the change scenario.
I understand and I'm aware of how it is. I'm just trying to make sense out of the numbers that are on this chart.
Right.
Because obviously those numbers are being used to generate a bid. I'm just curious what they're saying.
So actually, audit came back and did a little study on this, based on, I think, the previous meeting. When I showed up and I had a picture of the sidewalk that was sealed, it stayed white, bright white, looked great. We talked about it. and then Tom went back, I want to know how many square foot this was in here. For the panels, and she researched it and came back with this nice chart. Everything included, we have 839,350 linear feet of sidewalk, but that includes the clubhouse and some other areas that the CED is not responsible for. And of course, I want to give an estimate how much it would cost to seal the concrete sidewalks.
So
It was a modest $245,000.
what we're talking about is, I don't know if you had it in front of your house or not, where it's been grinded down and it looks white at this point. And that's to get rid of the areas where people can trip on, rather than replace all the sidewalks. When it gets to be, what's it, half inch or higher, we can't do it.
Right.
Right. So those have to be replaced. Some of those are happening around the bridges, but hopefully we can get all the sidewalks done. A lot of sidewalks in here, but this is the least expensive way to do it and get it done. And the guy who's doing it is doing a pretty good job. If you notice, there's no dust in the area. He has machinery that just eats up the dust before it goes anywhere. And that's why we're using this guy. Thank you.
That's all I have. Yep. So behind tab 4 board, you have your latest Hoover reports. Just regular maintenance inspection. August, we will be considering a work order on the needed replacements. Yep.
And this work order is the one right out here from the company house. So they come every 6 months, check it all out, make sure it's working properly. Our biggest issue in the pumps is the filtration system. We have to do that at least once a year to keep everything from getting into the pipes, the irrigation system. So it's money well spent.
We're in pretty good shape on that. We had that custom made for this community, actually. Let's go on to the next one, Western Council. Do you need to add anything on that list? Any kind of an overview, any?
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would add is, because the anticipated amount, for that work is well below the threshold that would require to be formal bid, the determination was made that we're not going to do a formal bid, which is advantageous to the CED. And as a result, which we're email the companies that we believe are qualified by value in the CDD to get proposals. Those proposals will be provided to the board to make the determination we would like to move forward with that project.
Remember what we're voting on, and we're only voting on the CDD part of it, not the rest of it. So we have to have the bids from everybody at that point. CDD needs to connect into what the highway would look cause and pass. Thank you. This board engineer, do you have anything?
No, but I mean, are we gonna vote on this now or?
Sure. I don't think you get anybody to vote against the way you present it.
So hopefully I won't, but.
So make a motion.
I move that we approve the CDD's request for proposal.
Second from John.
Everyone in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Joe?
Joe, thank
Aye.
you.
That's for these three irrigation common area.
Thank you.
So I've been working with a dryer at Thompson, been working with him on discussion of separating those pumps. Actually, the reason I was with the process and I can't find down in our property because of that. I will put an update and hopefully plan I can do this and dogs being have that completed yet. We do have a couple of bids for the bridge components. I know you want to rush, but I think I was successful in getting 3 other options out of good considerations. Like happy to help review those as any technical data or assistance you guys might need. And that's what I have.
Good. So get that off to me, because I like to fix the bridge behind my house, so that we get walk across it anymore.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'd like to see, a review of the current contract for the biannual inspection.
Sure.
And that is because now the Precision Concrete doing all these repairs. Right, so we're probably gonna need a de-scope contract for that.
Sure, so the next time we actually submit one, what will happen is their work order. When I submit that, I'll remove all of the inspection services related to the sidewalk, because we won't need to do that service anymore, so it'll be limited to drainage structures and stormwater piping and curb, if that's what it'll be significantly reduced.
But right now, they would tell us we have to remove them, so we gotta get them fixed first.
We have to get them fixed first, but I'm saying for budget purposes, we've already tried to
I know.
the mark, on that lines, because of the fact that we were spending a lot of money on the sidewalk repairs, we don't need to double pay.
Absolutely.
So once I get those other bids, I'll have an idea where the cost and what they want to repair. And then when we go from there and figure out what the yearly inspection or the bi-yearly inspection will be, because most of that's going to be replaced.
Yes.
The only thing, the two prior inspections, Brian, it's been probably 2 years since we did that last district inspection. That's not
Yes.
covered, kind of just reportedly to the state. Do you have a time certain on having to do that again for this district?
Your last report was the previous fiscal year, so technically your next report's going to be up in fiscal year 25-26. Yep. Yep.
Thank you, Anna. Just regarding the boards, actually, there's update with the bridge repairs, update with the budget line.
Yeah, so the bridge repairs, as Anna said, we're working together, in addition to the vice chair. We have three vendors that will be visiting the property over the next month, to inspect our bridges. Once we get that scope together, we will pass that over to the district engineer so she can make her recommendations and comments, and hopefully by, our August meeting, we should have some bids for consideration. And then, updates on the budget. So myself and Ken, we've been working very closely together with the budgets to ensure that the board is receiving accurate financials. Year to date, we are trending 99,000 as of June under our general fund. And then as well as you are trending 88,000 under on your reserves. This is subject to go down as all the projects that we are currently working on with the landscaping, including the bullnoses, including potentially the bridge repairs as well.
Well, then the mulch.
The mulch in September also, out of that 99, I believe 60 will be leaving that. So tracking along well and in alignment with all the projects and goals that we set in the previous fiscal year.
Debt service account, Sierra 2013, there's a negative balance of $15,000 in there. That's not abnormal. That balance is shown as a credit in there because homeowners have paid against the principal early. So I asked Brian to find out, what that is, because, usually a negative balance is negative, right? That's the answer. So it's not abnormal. It's a normal accounting way to display it. And on the other one, I think it's $3,000. But I think our O&M is in pretty good shape. Bob, we took the wire brush to this. Unless there's some unforeseen, calamity we have, I think we're gonna be okay going into the closeout of the year.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at our money at the end of July, and if we have any that we think we can free up to do some more bulldozers on legacy, we'll do. If we don't, then that will move into 1 October, when our fiscal year starts. Remember, we're not on a calendar fiscal year. We're on the government fiscal year, so our year ends on 30 September, and it picks up on 1 October. That's how we operate.
I think some of that money will be used on the bridges, but we're still gonna have these at the end of the year.
Brian, did I miss? Sorry.
Hey, go ahead, Joe.
Did I miss the discussion of the vacancy? Because I didn't hear anything.
Bob, did you have anything to add for the? She asked, do you want to cover the vacant seat? Is there anything you'd like to add?
We'll get to that.
We're going to come back to that, Joe.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
If we need done before we have to do long-term. The next one, consideration.
I have a question, if I can slip one in real quick. As the bridge at the front of the entry bridge, we don't control that, right?
That's Hyman.
That's Hyman, and that includes landscaping in front of that area is also Hyman.
Not the landscaping, that's ours.
It's the landscape.
Yes.
Talk about the line.
I had one of the members ask me that as to whether we were the ones that did that.
Talk about the island.
Out in the front, it was a discussion about the front of the landscaping.
Okay, all the landscaping in front of the bridge coming in here from Wickham is CDD property.
All right.
We are responsible for that.
Ken,
Yes,
does that also include the landscaping at the guardhouse? Because I noticed one of our invoices refers to the guardhouse.
we own it.
We own it.
Okay.
Pretty much look at anything that was an island is what we ought to do on landscaping out in that area.
So,
Anything else, Joe?
anything else, Joe?
No, that was it.
Okay, with consideration of the minutes, want to approve the minutes at the, May 20th meeting. The objections and questions?
No, John, make a motion to approve.
Oh,
I
Joe,
have
do
an
you have?
amendment. I have an amendment to the minutes.
Sure.
I
Go
don't,
ahead.
I don't know the line number because I'm trying to work with my iPad here, but the vote that was taken on resolution 25-2 regarding the policy on the sidewalks, that was a 3-1 vote. I voted negative, but the minutes reflects it was unanimous.
For the sidewalk repairs? Okay.
No, not the repairs, the resolution on the policy.
The request
And it's
amendment.
on the recording at our 2 hours and 28 minutes. But it was a vote of 3-1.
Gotcha. Bear with me.
Thank you.
Just making some quick notes, Bob. So you'll approve in substantial form with those revisions.
Would be. Thank you, Joe. With those changes, do we want to bring it up?
Yeah,
John?
with those changes, I'll make a motion to approve the previous minutes.
I
Second,
second.
And a second from
Any
Ken.
beach to it, everybody, vote now?
Yep.
Aye,
aye.
Aye.
thank you. Okay, now we're getting on to the business items. The Boyd proposal.
These are all ratifications.
These are the ratification for the operation and maintenance expenditures for May and June. If you guys have any questions on the monthly billing. Yeah.
Want to do it all, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
This one's actually, this is the O&M's, Bob, the cost. So you'd be looking for a motion to ratify your maintenance expenditures for May and June.
Looking for a motion, yeah. The expenditure.
Yep, May and
I
June.
move to, approve the expenditures.
Okay.
For, what's the month?
May and June.
May and June.
Let's do those. John? Yes.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Second from John.
Joe, you hear it?
Yeah, I hear in favor.
In favor.
Everybody else? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about vacancy, then we'll talk about signs.
Real quick, Bob, now you would, unless you want to do that first, the ratifications of items 1 through 9.
Oh.
No, that was the operation and maintenance expenditures. This will be the items.
Okay, so you need another motion?
Yes.
Joe, you want to make the motion?
Want to make a
Well,
motion, Joe?
I have a question because isn't number 9 something that hasn't been done? Isn't that something we're discussing doing?
Yeah, 1 through 8.
1 through 8.
There we go, 1 through 8. I make a motion, we approve 1 through 8 on the ratification of the district items.
I'll second it.
Second from Bob.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Let's talk about the vacancy before we talk about the signs. All right with everybody? Go ahead, Joe.
Vacancy, Joe.
Basically, I wanted to know if we have, how many applications we have and when is the exact deadline on that? And are we discussing, just the vacancy or the actual vacancy of the office position also? I know we have acting chair.
We're doing the vacancy and then we'll have a vote on the office department. We have 4 applicants who handed it in, but everybody has until midnight tonight to hand it in. Anybody else wants to do that?
Did he say 4? I couldn't understand.
Yes.
4.
Yeah, we currently have 4. Everybody has until midnight to submit their applications.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Would you explain what will happen then? Will we meet these candidates at the next meeting and then go through and do a vote? What is that method that's going to be used?
It is. Hit the nail on the head.
All right. Just thought that should be made
Right.
public. That's what's
Then
going
we
to
have
happen.
secret ballots after that. Now when we get in the past, we are going to have them introduce themselves to us and then we have.
That's right.
Yeah.
That'll be at the August meeting.
Yep.
One last question.
Yes, Joe.
I heard what's going to occur at the next meeting. My question would be, are those the names of the individuals divulged before that meeting? The reason I ask is because if I was in their shoes, I would want to know who else was also in the running. I mean, I almost put my name in for the CDD many years ago. When I saw Ken's name, I decided I wanted him, so I backed out. There could be people that feel the same way if they know who else is in the running. We'd rather know before we take a long time considering them. They may want to withdraw, they may want to stay, but they don't know who else has put their name in. None of us do.
Most work, the documents are public record.
It's public information when you run for election, so I don't see the difference really.
I don't see any reason we should, put it out.
So once we close, no, once you close it out, do you want us to send an email blast with the HOA? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I will work on that, Bob. Board.
Well, when we send out a notice of the candidates, that's also a good time to tell what's going to happen, how we're going to do it. I just would like to make sure that everyone understands the procedure for how it's going to happen.
But just bear in mind, you can't do that together.
But
We can't do that.
I know that there's going to be an email blast go out
Right.
with names of the candidates after the close of the night. And I suggest a short summary be put with it, that at the next meeting, these candidates will speak to the board, and then the board will.
And we talk about the procedure.
Yes,
Yeah, I agree. That probably should be.
just trying to keep it on the surface.
Well, he makes
It's a good idea.
Because the HO, the height of the urban before, they would have meet the candidate day. Remember, we're not doing that here. They're gonna come to our meeting.
Right.
Yes.
They're keeping it to me, yes.
Yeah, I'll do that, Bob.
And then it is up to the members of the board will select the candidate.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, make the appointment.
Exactly.
That's a good idea.
Yep. We'll get it done.
Good idea, John. Thank you.
So the only issue we have left is to answer some of the questions that were posed to us about the sign out there. Let you go first, Joe.
Joe, signs. Any comments on the signs?
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that the proposal, the bid contains 3 items. Excuse me. One's the removal of the signs. The other part is the reinstallation of the signs. And then I believe there's a storm drain that needs repair. I would suggest that we break this up into 3 different motions to be decided on. Starting with, I make a motion that we remove And I believe the invoice says 14 signs. However, there are 5 signs on Legacy that are within 25 foot of an intersection. And according to the Brevard ordinances, the bottom of a sign within 25 feet has to be 8 feet tall. I don't believe that's the case on our signs. I don't think that it was researched as to where they needed to be placed or the height. So I'm going to modify it to suggest that we remove 19 signs. The only one that is within legal limit would be the one by the back gate, which would remain, I guess, if that's the case, unless somebody wants to modify it to all 20.
So the
Actually,
proposal,
I'll modify it now to all 20. I'll just recommend that we remove all 20 signs.
so the proposal that was for ratification, Joe, was incorrect. We approved the curb repairs, and some others that we'll have to reattach to the agenda. This is now being discussed, with Haida on what the preference will be for relocation. So we need to come up, to your point, with options for relocation. We'll have Anna review those areas to ensure that we're within the designated area, and then we could bring this back for a formal approval.
Well, in the meantime, we all know they have to be moved, so I make a motion that we remove the signs, and then we can also later on decide where they're going to go or how they're going to go or if they're going to go. But at this time, I'd just like to make a motion that we remove the signs.
So we have a motion from Joe to relocate the signs. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Have a second from John.
I know. It's like for those. They were put up probably selected and put up prematurely. And I believe it's time to, I agree, they should be moved until we decide what we're going to do with them, where they belong and what's proper.
So we have a second from John for relocating the signs. Do we have?
Just to clarify,
It's removing,
I think the motion was to remove.
Remove.
correct.
Okay, so
Holding them temporary until we decide where to put them. I have to agree, going around there are signs and locations that why is the sign there? They are also not particularly attractive. Now that we see the finished sign, and we never did see what the finished sign was going to look like before we put it in place. So I agree that it would be, at least we should remove them and hold them until we decide how we're going to put them out properly.
Now,
Or what,
are we talking about all the signs?
I didn't say all the signs, but there's also
Joe,
a lot of issue about the verbiage on the signs, what it says, what it does. I don't think that's it's not, that's acceptable. And I don't know, I would have said that the majority of the membership is not happy with the signs. Sorry about that, I knew that was what you wanted approval. Yeah, so I think that might be the appropriate thing to do.
So let's look at the issues, what happens if we remove the signs.
Right.
Okay, and again, I'm not for it, to be honest with you either, but I think the background behind it is probably removing the signs. Somebody got hit by a bicycle again about 4 months, and that's what brought this issue up to the CDD again. And everybody thinks it's a new rule. It's not a new rule where bikes are not allowed on the sidewalk. It's been the rule for many months. We've sent out at least 6 to 8 emails, e-blasts, asking people to stay on the sidewalk with their bicycles. None of it has worked. We ran into this issue with this lady, and we're afraid that we're going to get sued, which means that every single one of you out there is going to get sued. Okay? The insurance company has a disclaimer in their mind that we don't have anything up saying you're not allowed on the sidewalk. Sending out emails We have this old adage that goes through here all the time, and I think it was introduced by you, Joe. Not everybody has a computer, so they can say they've never seen an email, but they can't say they've never seen a sign. So I'd like Wes to tell me what would happen if we don't have a disclaimer with the insurance companies, and somebody else gets hit by a bike. Can we be sued as a community?
So. Let me start.
I'd like to.
Council's going to speak. 1 second, Joe.
Okay.
So let me start, and you've heard me say this in the past. The CDD can get sued regardless of whether there's a sign, regardless of whether there's emails, and more, I mean, if you drive down I-95, you'll see every 50 feet, there's a lawyer who, if hired, is going to be willing to sue anybody with deep pockets. So under no circumstances, I don't think you would find any lawyer who's going to make representation that if you take one step, you're not going to be sued. There are a few things legally to be considered, and I think it was addressed to some degree by Kyle from my office who was here. The law that you heard at the podium with respect to how the paths are treated under Florida laws, in other words, and the CDD, and that's why I think Kyle told you the CDD would not be able to enforce the no bikes because under the Florida law, under the county law, bikes are authorized. The signage, I think, is best equated to if you drive through lots of communities around the state and you see a sign that says no soliciting, those signs are not enforceable either. There's a First Amendment right. Soliciting is viewed as a form of speech that's protected by First Amendment rights in this country. Those signs are everywhere, and it's because they're a deterrent. So I think the expectation was that the signage, whether enforceable or not, would be a deterrent to try and stop the types of accidents that you were seeing occur on the district's pathways. As far as coverage, this board has sovereign immunity. What that means is you have the legislative authority, your public officials, decisions that you make regarding the operations of the CDD are legislative decisions. You make those decisions in the best interest of the community. And while I can't guarantee, if you make a decision to, one, allow bikes on the sidewalks, and two, not put up any signage, in all likelihood, a lawsuit, if somebody gets hit by a bike, is not going to be particularly successful because that's something that you, in your best knowledge as an elected official, made a determination that you believe is appropriate. You've heard from your constituents that they think it's safe to have pedestrians and bicyclists on the same path. You have every right to agree. If someone got hit by a bike, even though the path is owned by the CDD, the reason they got hit by a bike is not because you made that determination. You would be sovereignly immune. I will say, sovereign immunity doesn't protect you from, let's say, there was a branch or some visual obstruction on the path, and someone told the CDD about it to say, hey, pedestrians and bicyclists can't see each other. There's a branch coming off one of your trees. There's a line of sight issue. You need to cut this branch. If somebody got hit and it was because they couldn't see because of the branch, you are exposed because that's not a legislative determination. That isn't just because you have pedestrians and bicyclists on the same path. That's because there was an issue that you were obligated to maintain. You were told about it and failed to maintain it. And as a result, you expose yourself to liability. There are still benefits under Florida law, limitations on the level of damages, $300,000 for a lawsuit. So to answer, this is a long answer, but to answer your question, I think insurance would still provide coverage if you allow bicycles on the pathways. I think at that meeting that I spoke with Kyle in my office, there were very strong feelings towards wanting to not have bicycles. I mean, every time we hear about an injury, I think you take swift action and you try to do what you believe is going to provide the most safety opportunities for the community. So I don't think the decision is necessarily one to be made based on liability, because I can give you a scenario where potentially you may be exposed to liability with a bicyclist, let's say a bicyclist who sees the sign, believes that, oh, I'm not allowed to be on this path, even if under the law, Florida law, they're entitled to be on the path, they're on the roadway, they get hit by a car, and then they say, wait a minute, CDD, you put up this sign that told me I can't do something that under Florida law I was able to do. Your deterrent worked. I didn't ride on the path. The pedestrian is probably safer, but it exposed me to a potential likelihood and it actually happened with me getting hit by a car. I'm going to sue you for having a sign that misrepresented what I can and can't do. So there's no right answer. I think when you own roadways, and I realize you don't own roadways here, when you own paths, when you own stuff that is accessible for members of the public to use for things like riding bikes or even walking, you're always going to be exposed to liability. That's just the nature of being a unit of government. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
So I wasn't at that meeting, I probably would have voted differently than what came out. But my question would have been the liability issue, which the insurance company told me, is the community liable, not we liability.
So when the CDD is liable, sort of the community is liable. So if there was a lawsuit that was filed against the CDD, and for some reason your insurance company said, sorry, we're not providing coverage, and if we defend it and lose, if sovereign immunity didn't apply, and they say not even insurance apply, and you end up with a large lawsuit against you, the community is liable in that the way the CDD is going to pay for that judgment against it is it will have to levy an assessment against all the property owners within the community. Those property owners will have to pay that assessment, so the CDD has the money to pay it. So no one's going to be individual liable. No one's going to have a judgment against them in their individual name, but a judgment against the CDD that the CDD is obligated to pay is going to result in the CDD levying an assessment against all the property owners to collect the amounts that are necessary to pay that judgment.
Well, I don't understand. If we have sovereign immunity, we actually cannot consume.
If you can success, so, but then if you do case law research, I mean, every plaintiff's lawyer is going to try and come up with a reason why they believe that sovereign immunity does not apply. I think it's clear, and again, I'm not going to guarantee anything, but I think you making a legislative determination that you, especially when you have the state law supporting it, that you believe that it's reasonably safe for bicycles and pedestrians to be on the same walkway, I think that's a decision that you are going to be able to take advantage of sovereign immunity, which means a lawsuit against you will not stand. If they're suing you to say, wait a minute, board, you're the one who allowed bikes and pedestrians, not to be redundant, where you have an issue is if you're not adequately maintaining those pathways, a failure to maintain sovereign immunity would not apply. Prohibiting the lawsuit, the limits on the lawsuit would apply. The monetary limits.
Brian,
Yes.
I just want to make sure that was a lot and that I understood what he said. It almost sounded like he said either way, we could be liable to someone pursuing a lawsuit, whether the bicycle is forced onto the sidewalk or the bicycle is forced onto the road. It sounds like we're basically in the same boat either way. And with the fact that the state of Florida and Brevard County are open to the same kind of liability issues, and their laws allow a bicycle on a sidewalk, I would think that we would tend to go with actually using that as a basis for the reason that we support the state law and the Brevard County law. But isn't the motion right now on the table just to remove the signs? Okay.
Yeah, we still have the motion. I think we're just wrapping up comments to take a vote.
Okay, but I just want to make sure that signs are separate from the policy. And right now it's just a matter of the signs.
The voting on the side, policy, everyone is. I would definitely vote to take it down. I knew we were in a suit.
I can't hear.
So my question is going to be one less. We've had this rule in effect ever since this community was built. So it's not a new rule. So we're basically voting now to take the signs down. We should probably also have to vote on the fact that we have the rule that says bicycles are not allowed on the sidewalk. And that would be two issues.
I think perhaps what we need is as someone else had mentioned earlier, a smaller, simpler, less obtrusive sign that states pedestrians have the right of way. Please respect this and be careful. And make it a small sign and put it in various locations. Perhaps we can use the same replace it. I think the sign you put there has so many different issues on it that it's not acceptable to anybody.
So Brian,
Philosophically.
One second.
sorry,
You good, John? Okay. Joe, go ahead.
I believe Bob
Oh.
said it wouldn't,
Give me 1 second. Ken has some comments.
sure. Is he talking? I can't hear him.
The problem I have with it is we have an issue with electric scooters that are coming in here, mostly kids, driving in here from other neighborhoods on these electric scooters. They go pretty fast too, because I tried to chase a couple of them down last year when we were fishing in the ponds, and they got on those scooters and bam, they're at it. I couldn't keep up with them. The other thing is the electric bikes. Those bikes can go up to 25 miles an hour. And I've seen them on the sidewalks in here. So I don't have a problem with regular bikes, but I have an issue with the electric scooters that come in here and those electric bikes due to the fact that they can drive them real fast. And the faster they go, the higher percentage you're gonna have of somebody getting hit. Does that make sense?
That's what I agree with, which is why this is such a difficult question to solve. So if the paths were being used properly and the bicyclists and so forth were courteous, we would not have a problem. But the paths, as you know, there are 8-foot sidewalk, which in a cart, an electric cart, for example. The problem is the majority of the parks might have an 8-foot sidewalk going in, but then you get a 4-foot sidewalk coming in all the way.
Yeah.
So the 4-foot sidewalks inside the parks almost say that this park was meant for walking, not for a bicycle path.
Mm-hmm.
Those paths, sidewalks and so forth, there is not a biking route that's meant for exercise. We don't have a loop set up to do nothing but laps. We have a whole mishmash of sometimes 8-foot sidewalks, but not very many. And almost never do they continue. They eventually go down to a 6-foot or a 4-foot. So there's no way we cover it with one sign that says either nobody's allowed or what we need is something that's in between. That's why I kind of like the solution of perhaps looking at the sign itself and saying it's probably inappropriate. Could we simply put a smaller sign in that says perhaps pedestrians have the right of way, please be courteous.
Brian?
I think Bob has some comments. I'll come back to you.
Let me ask a question of the audience. Those of you who have upset with the sign be on Legacy, or you're upset with the signs everywhere? So I guess what my suggestion would be, now that I'm here at this meeting and they vote about, is we do have this rule that bicycles are not on sidewalks. I think for the litigation part, we need to get rid of that rule. Otherwise, we can still simply get sued because somebody got hit on the sidewalk or be allowed. So I would rather get rid of that, and then at that point, doesn't go along with getting rid of the signs on the road.
That's what I've been trying to say is I would like to move on what Bob has said, and that is to rescind the previous motion of 2025-2 policy, rescind it to be addressed at a later time. Because obviously, from all the discussion, everyone would like it to be at least slightly different. So I'd like to rescind our previous policy and make a motion.
That's the question I asked was.
I agree with you, I think, to the extent that, you're going to have signage that's, excuse me, signage that suggests that bicycles and, pedestrians can be on the sidewalk simultaneously, which is, if we went with the, yield to pedestrians that are right away, then we should have a rule that's consistent with that, which would be, changing the rule that you're talking about that prohibits bicycles. I think that's in the CDD's best interest to have consistency there.
So Joe, if you don't mind, I'd like to make a motion first that we, rule and bicycles are not allowed with sidewalks.
I couldn't hear him.
What was your motion, Bob?
Bicycles are not allowed on sidewalks in this community. Wait.
Okay, bicycles.
What's he saying? I can't hear him.
He made a motion for bicycles not being allowed on the sidewalks within the community.
Just hang on. We have to get rid of that one first, then we.
I thought we were voting to rescind the previous policy because the previous policy matches the signs.
Well, we're not gonna have signs in 2 minutes. Let's get rid of the policy first, that we allow sidewalks, bicycles on sidewalks. So that'll eliminate the fact if someone's on the sidewalk with a bicycle and hits the woman, that the board said it's okay for you to be on it.
So we can simply, can we just simply rescind
Correct.
the previous
Bob,
policy?
Bob, just for my clarification, are you making a motion for bicycles not being allowed or removing that?
We're rescinding the motion that they are allowed.
They're allowed.
We're rescinding that they are.
Rescinding. Rescind the previous
Okay,
motion of 2025.
So
-2.
rescind bicycles not allowed on sidewalk.
It's a singular policy. We have to rescind the whole policy, correct?
We have to get rid of that before we can actually start those songs. And that's like.
Right. But
Okay,
I'm saying we're
so-
rescinding the resolution, correct?
well, let's go one step at a time, Joe.
Allow them, then we essentially.
So we're not allowing this lot, we're just saying that they can be on.
Well, that's why I say we just.
Then we'll get into something.
So we have a motion from Bob.
Policy, but take the signs.
John, 1 second, I need to finish this motion.
Well, no,
So rescinding,
If you're saying you're allowing bicycles, okay, but you're not allowing bicycles. So
you're
then
taking.
you are to be encouraging people to use the sidewalks for bicycles. And there are people and people from out of the community that use it as part of an exercise route.
You know,
Where an exercise route is not appropriate when there are pedestrians walking that may be infirm, that may be deaf, that may be walking their pets. And that's kind of the problem.
outside communities, so they have to address that. Right now, we have to address what the audience would like us to do, and that's to get rid of the signs that are out there now. I think there's enough votes for that now, but in order to do that, we also have to say that bikes are now allowed to be on the sidewalks. Right now, we
I
don't.
agree. I think we have to combine.
Because you still have to rule it out.
I say it's been there for years and years. Now, obviously, it is probably a good thing to at least call attention to the fact that bicycles should yield to pedestrians no matter what.
You currently have those signs throughout the community that they should yield to golf carts and other things. But let's finish this motion. So you have a motion from Bob.
Made the motion. Get a second on that, and then we'll go into the motion that she made about the sign.
Ken, do I have a second to that motion from Bob, rescinding bicycles not allowed on the sidewalks?
I would like to amend the motion.
All right, no, well, I need a second for, and then you can make a separate motion.
All right.
Correct.
What I asked was, and I'll try to explain this, is that by eliminating the signs, in my mind, you still don't eliminate the liability of the board, allowing bikes to be on the sidewalk. We don't want bikes on the sidewalk. That's why we put that on. We have a rule that says bikes are not allowed on the sidewalk. So we only put the signs up because nobody was paying attention to it. Okay? So in order to, in my mind, and I guess in Joe's mind, because we're doing the same thing, is that in order to make that rule really work, we can't have the rule saying that bikes are allowed on the sidewalk. So if they go on the sidewalk, just gonna keep doing it. So now we have to say, okay, you're allowed on the sidewalk, but as John said, put out another request asking for caution. Because people have been.
Yeah, we can send out community.
So the motion I made was to get rid of that ruling, and then if it passes, to go into the second one, which we can now eliminate the signage. And then we'll have to have a discussion how to keep out signage.
But we also need a discussion on tarps. Part of it is,
John's, Joe, do you have something? Well, give me one second.
it's not sufficient to have an electric golf cart because that forces the pedestrians off the sidewalk. And therefore, the rule of saying no bikes probably also has to be no cars, which I believe is part of our rules.
Well, the carts generally supposed to have 10 feet before they're allowed. That's so they're not stopping you. This is not.
Right, this is not the villages.
Joe, do you have anything to add real quick?
Yeah, I think Bob and I are on the same page that we can't have a rule conflict with the signs, et cetera. So I just think to make it really clear, we had a policy, a resolution with a number 2025-2. If we motion to rescind that, basically we have no sidewalk policy and we can work on one in the future, but we can then vote to remove the signs. But I'd like to make it clear that we're not modifying the policy, we rescind the policy and create a new one in the future if needed.
Yes.
You were looking what John's looking for, where parks and everything else. Right?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
I said, we will come up with a new one that doesn't allow in the parks and so on.
Yes, perhaps what we'll come up with something that says, we prefer carts and bikes not being used on sidewalks in Heritage Island.
Well, we'll let the West.
So can I amend Bob's motion to just include that we're rescinding the resolution 2025-2?
Yeah.
Yeah, so our motion is to rescind resolution 2025-02, and in a future date, the board could consider adopting a new policy.
Well, we'll get the issue, the next one.
W-
We'll get rid of the signage and we'll add it to the sign.
I never got a second. Who's the second to this motion?
Okay.
You motion, Bob. I need
Then
a
I'll second.
second from Joe, and then take a vote, board. The rules.
No, I believe the motion that we were working on is to remove the sign.
John, that is incorrect. The motion is to
Signs aside, I don't think that was the second.
John, the motion on the table, just for clarity, is to rescind resolution 2025-02, which was our previous public hearing.
That's the rule, right?
So I suggest us moving on this, and then we can work on a new amended rules, do a whole public hearing after the fact.
So let's just get this clear. We're getting rid of the rule that says that you're not allowed to bring your bike to the sign. We'll go to the next one. Then we're gonna vote on the signs.
Okay,
Okay?
so,
That call for the vote?
no, we gotta take a vote still.
So you have enough audience?
I have the motion, I have the second from Joe, I need a vote from the board. All in favor?
Everybody in favor of that?
Right.
All right, we have three
3-1.
3-1, John Smulligan.
Said no to voting against the carts and bikes rule.
Okay, so we have that motion now. Let's go to Joe's first motion, which we had a motion from Joe, a second from John to remove all of the
Correct.
signs.
Correct.
Any more discussion on that? Okay, the vote, Kenny, let's do this each.
All in,
Kenny? Aye. I vote yes. Joe?
Aye.
okay, unanimous.
4-0 to eliminate these signs in our opinion.
All right.
I still think we have a problem with your e-bikes. Those electric scooters.
We
No,
do,
I didn't even go there, I agree with you totally.
we do, but we'll take care of
It's like the game.
That's gonna have to be said.
That's gonna be a separate issue, but everyone here is concerned.
You know.
Yep, we'll figure that out.
That's another sign.
So I think we should put some more they're gonna communicate that through.
There's that.
Something is coming down.
The sign is coming.
Signs are coming in.
Participating, right? And we did listen to you, so we're gonna have meetings here from now on. Every problem you got.
We need to use the owl. We need to use the owl because the audio is terrible.
Yeah, no, I hear.
Entertain a vote.
That's it, supervisor comments.
Entertain a vote to everyone.
Okay,
Adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
meeting,
Adjourn.
aye, adjourning meeting, Joe.
Yeah, aye.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Joe, I will get with you offline on the tech stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.